faceless, we were born for greatness. We're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. We're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. They say that I'm reckless, because I'm relentless. They spit on my face and crush on my name and taking my life in vengeance. Yeah, you could try and blame us and try and take what's sacred, but we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. Somebody sound the alarm. for greatness. We're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. Somebody sound the alarm. It's time that you know. It doesn't matter if the world is going mad, if we just hold on, if we just hold on, yeah. Sing it louder just to let the world know. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. We were born for greatness. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness.
The episode finally gets started on the catfish note, and we get an email from 29-year-old Zara, who is a hospital worker. She says that she needs help finding her boyfriend, whose name is T. Just the letter T. To it. They met on a dating website for
I see that look in your eyes. It makes me go blind. Cut me deep. These secrets and lies. Storm in the quiet.
So T is apparently 36.
Feel the fury closing in. All resistance wearing thin. Nowhere to run from all of this havoc.
Anything is possible. The claims do not have any social media, but they do dance.
Nowhere to hide from all of this madness, 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 madness.
He's just always busy. So when they arrive, they get right down to business. But Pete, she gives Max a hug and not. Hey, how you doing? Good. Good. Thanks. Hey.
Nice to meet you.
Do with that information what you will. Neve and Max seem to be completely invested in the whole feederism thing, which honestly I did expect, and it is quite literally the first thing Max asks her about.
Oh, let's feederism.
So she breaks it all the way down. She explains that there's a feedee and a feeder. The whole relationship revolves around the feeder's desire to make you bigger or keep you fed, but there are different levels to it.
And you have people that do stuff like take ranch baths and things like that.
Ranch, that's
Like
they
baths.
do.
Now, personally, would never take a range bath. She says that it's pretty typical for the feeder to be in a relationship and to keep their secrets before they're T a secret from their partners. So T actually messaged her on a plagiarism site, and she said that he didn't immediately fetishize her, so that appealed to her because it seemed like he wanted to know her as a person. The bar is so extremely low. And I hate it. So Nate actually calls her out on this, and he's like, yeah, okay, but at its core, him reaching out to you was still about his kid. Like, let's not be too delusional about this whole situation, bro. She estimates that he spent at least a couple of $1,000 just sending her. We then find out that she actually used her heater
That he was in a relationship.
and I just so quick question. Would you consider this cheating? Like, yes, I understand it's just food, but in my mind, there's a kink and sexual gratification involved. So I personally think I would say yes. Just as a rule of thumb for me, though, anything that I wouldn't do directly in front of my partner, or anything that my partner would do directly in front of me, falls into a cheating category, or like dishonesty, disloyalty. To me, those things are one and the same. Whether that be flirting, exchanging socials, phone numbers, touching up on another person, or even paying someone to fulfill your secret kink. But Spark did want to go to girlfriend and wanted to be the
BMW.
boyfriend and take care of her physically. And this sounded really good to her, but this sounds real bad to me. It doesn't sound wholesome to me at all. It sounds like very thinly veiled control, in my humble opinion. Because, yeah, I broke up with my girlfriend. I want to be your leader. I want to be your boyfriend. Okay, so now I'm not paying you to fulfill my kink anymore. I'm just your boyfriend and I want to take care of you. So everything comes back to me at the end of the day. That doesn't seem wholesome to me at all.
However,
She said that her previous relationships haven't worked out because they always want to change her. They always want her to lose weight, just become different, but things are really different with her. And I love that she's understanding that she doesn't have to change to be happy in a relationship and be fulfilled, but I don't think that T is that person for her. So now they are apparently allegedly in an official relationship, but they never met and they never been on video chat because she says that as a warehouse manager with Hello. This has got to be one of the most memorable catfish reveals that have ever been on the show. And ever since I covered the "you should have never called me a fat ass Kelly Price," there's been a handful of you who've been requesting that we talk about this episode that we're about to get into. This is season 6, episode 3, Danny and Rosa. So we got young Neve and Max coming up with an oddly intimate handshake before we get into the mess of it all. We start off with an email from Danny who says that he is in love with his girlfriend Rosa, who he has never met, and they both live in, wait for it, Florida. Go fuck yourself, honestly. Florida. Orlando, specifically. And we already know that if an episode is happening in Florida, it's not going to end well for anybody involved. So Danny says that he's been messaging her for years, and she only answered his messages about a year ago, and now they text and they talk on the phone every single day. But just a little random sidebar, a little nugget of wisdom from myself. Never, ever date anybody who has been sitting in your inbox talking to themselves for years. It's not going to end well. Because that person has been putting you on a pedestal, they have some weird fantasy, and obviously it shows that they don't care about rejection, which I'm not saying that rejection should make a person feel bad. You should care a little bit about being rejected or being ignored for years, okay? And this is advice that I would give to Danny, but clearly he doesn't care about the very evident flags, so I'm gonna just tell you, I hope that one of y'all will care and will listen. So Rosa has actually stood Danny up multiple times, and he feels like she's hiding something, and despite all of that, he believes that she is the one for him, which is definitely something special. So Neve and Max quickly hop on a Skype call with Danny, and Neve does what Neve does. Embarrasses himself and everybody around him. And at this point, for whatever reason, I've now clearly realized that Neve was always fully in dad mode before he ever became a dad, and it's definitely something to see. It's definitely something to see. There's nothing else that I can really say about that that would be appropriate. But Danny says that the main thing that made him keep messaging Rosa is the fact that she's hot. It's giving creepy. It's definitely giving creepy. Like, if she didn't respond the first 5 million times, you just kept going because you think she's hot. There's nothing else to it. You're not like, yeah, I think she's really intelligent. I think that we could have a long, meaningful, and impactful relationship that would cause the most positive trajectory in my life. No, she's hot. You're too old for that, Danny. So he says that he was messaging her on the first page, no response, and eventually He found another page that she created, messaged that one, no response. But then he found a third page that she created, messaged her again, and that is when he finally got a response. And the fact that he did not see this as a blaring red flag on Rose's behalf, but also as a creepy red flag on his behalf is quite concerning. At this point, I was like, okay, well, maybe now we'll get a little bit more depth, a little bit of a further explanation as to why he's feeling Rosa like that. And he says that not only is Rosa beautiful, and I was like, okay, she's beautiful, but what else do you like about her? And then this foolish ass man says that she's crazy and she's violent. And he seems to like that. And, you know, I feel like I don't really like yucking people's yums. If you like it, that's good for you. I don't have to like it. But me personally, if someone told me that they were out here fighting their co-workers' girlfriends because their girlfriends were jealous of their beauty, my first reaction is not going to be like, okay, great, let me wife them up and plan a life with them. It's going to be, get the fuck away from me.
Quickly.
Who cares if random people are jealous of you? Why are you fighting them? That's weirdo behavior. And you and Max are like, what?
Ugh. Weird.
And that reaction is only amplified when Danny says that she was actually arrested for putting the pause on her co-workers' girlfriends. But Danny claims that he doesn't judge a book by its cover, so he doesn't seem too bothered by her violent nature, which is somewhat concerning. He says that he wants to help and make her a better person, so now this is all making sense. He's definitely trying to play Captain Save-A-Ho. Neve and Max, of course, agree to help, so they get off the call, and Neve says that it's not a season of Catfish without an episode in Orlando, which is too accurate, unfortunately, so they head down to meet with Danny. They pull up on Danny, and he claims that he fell in love with Rosa on first sight, which is interesting because they have never actually seen each other.
Really?
They have made plans to get married, they have made plans to have a baby, the whole shebang, basically. Danny then tells us that Rosa moved down to Orlando just for him, so before she was living in Connecticut. Which, if that was actually the case, sir, she would have already met you.
Be fucking for real.
But Rosa apparently already got arrested in Orlando for beating up a girl. No, sir, come the fuck on. But when Danny's explaining the incident to us, he's actually like smirking and giggling about it.
Just beat her down, man. She actually slammed her face in the floor.
Which is somewhat alarming to me because it's like you're attracted to violent behavior. If someone is out here beating bitches left and right, beating them up in their personal life, what makes you think that that energy wouldn't be turned to you? Quickly, answer the question. But Danny even tells us that Rosa getting arrested made him question the relationship a little bit. Because of her hard life, she has apparently been abused as a child. He decided to stick it out so he can encourage her to have a relationship with God.
And sometimes you need to have some kind of relationship with God, just to bring up your spirit, man.
Now, keep in mind that this man will keep bringing up his relationship with God and his religion, but then in the next sentence will be super lusty and horny. So it just seems like a little bit of an oxymoron, but that's just me. With my perspective, my opinion. So Danny reiterates once again that he is someone who can save her, and this just doesn't sit right with me. I don't believe that anybody can be saved. I think if a person wants to do better and a person wants to be better, they're going to do that on their own. I don't think they're going to do that because someone came into their life and magically made them turn everything around. Or if they do somehow turn everything around, in my mind, that change is not going to last long because it didn't come from them. They're not doing it for them. They're doing it for this other person. So we then take a peek at Danny and Rose's messages and the pictures that he has of her, and seeing him oogle at her booty shot bikini pictures.
So you blame me for sticking around?
Right after his speech about God is very interesting.
What's all this bullshit and shenanigans?
We then see their messages, and they're very flirtatious, which again is interesting because Danny is painting himself to be this upstanding, holy, godly Christian man. And if I'm remembering correctly from my younger Christian days, lust is a big no-no, but we move, I suppose. We then see the different Rosa pages. The first one has 1,700 friends, the second one has a couple hundred, and the third page that Danny is supposedly talking to only has 15.
Don't piss me off, for real.
Come on, Danny. And that big old Mr. Potato Head of yours, you have got to know that that don't make no damn sense. You've got to know that something is up and fishy, okay? Catfishy. But Neil straight up said that there's a very small chance that he's actually talking to the person in the pictures before they head out. And in the car debrief, Max is just talking so much shit, and I am personally loving it.
I think he just still wants to smash.
So our boys get right to investigating at a very cute cafe, and you know it's serious because Max is out here taking notes with actual pen and paper, which I cannot remember the last time he did that. We start by reverse image searching the pictures of Rosa, and nothing comes up for the first few pictures, but the last one comes back with the quickness, okay? So we find an Instagram page linked to a girl named Natalie, who is in fact the girl in the pictures. And Neve and Max celebrate, which is weird to me because why are you celebrating the fact that Danny is for sure being catfish? I just want to know. We then search the phone number and it comes back linked to someone named Yenny in Connecticut. So we then log into Danny's Facebook page and they search Yenny and get absolutely no hits, which is not shocking. We then take a peek at Danny's messages and we see, which is not surprising to anybody, I hope not at least, that he is in fact talking to a bunch of other girls and he's not in this exclusive, committed relationship with Rosa like he led us to believe at the very beginning. It actually appears he's speaking flirtatiously to about 50 or 60 other women.
And you need to become castrated.
Which to me is just a little bit forever, and then you're just out here talking to like 60 other women. But this was especially crazy to me, not shocking like I said, but crazy to me because he handed over his Facebook login information knowing that he was doing Rosa dirty. He didn't delete anything, he didn't try to cover anything up, and this is also very different to the God-fearing spin he attempted to put on everything at the very beginning of the episode. I feel like I keep focusing on that because I grew up like super religious, like super religious, and there was just a lot of hypocrites, and there were things that men were given passes for that women would never be given passes for, and this is one of those things. Like lust in men was like, it's a man, what are you gonna do? But lust in women, it's like you're going to hell. It might not seem like what Danny's doing that big of a deal, but I just hate religious hypocrites. So it's just rubbing me a little bit the wrong way. They already made me not really like Danny from the very beginning of the episode. I'm just going to be honest about that. So Max says that Danny is a serial internet dater, which is very scary. Oh my god, I have a mosquito bite on my neck and she just won't stop itching. Neve somehow manages to switch the narrative from Danny's in the wrong to Danny's just lonely and seeking connection. No, Danny's a fucking creep is what it looks like to me. But then they go to Rosa's friend list and they see that she's friends with someone named Brandy who is actually on the show. Not only was she on the show before, but she was the catfish on the show, so it's not looking good, brother.
What the hell is going on?
It's looking like Brandy might be the catfish, but they actually still have her number, so they quickly give her a call. Neve fills her in, and then Brandy says that the name doesn't sound familiar. She says that she's never talked to anybody named Rosa, and she doesn't know who she is, which would be a believable answer if she hadn't previously been caught catfishing. Because back in these days, like early 2000s, mid 2000s, even to I'd say mid 2010s, most people were just accepting the most random Facebook friend request for no reason, just so it could look like you had a lot of friends, even though you don't know any of these people. Our guys do not at all seem to be buying the fact that Brandy has no involvement because, as Neve says,
Once a catfish, always a catfish.
So they head back to Danny with virtually no answers, and they walk him through everything we just talked about. Danny seems shocked to find out that the girl in the pictures is not who he was talking to, which the fact that he's shocked is shocking to me, but hey, we move. But maybe this is just what happens when you're overcome by lust and your common sense goes out of your big potato head.
Even if you get mad, even if you get offended. So,
Danny says that no one has ever sent him fake pictures, and Neve goes, really?
We know that you reach out to a lot of ladies.
And that shit would have gagged me. I would have been stopped dead in my tracks. But Danny just brushes it off and says that he's single, he has no kids, and he wants to settle down, so now he's just mingling. And again, this is a very different tale to what he was telling us at the beginning of the episode, which made it seem like he was head over heels in love with Rosa. And he just couldn't even entertain the thought of being with anyone else. And now he's like, yeah, well, if not Rosa, I'm gonna get me a bitch another way. So they decide to just give Rosa a call, and she answers right away. Neve quickly fills her in. She seems mad to hear that Danny contacted Catfish, and I feel like the people who get the most mad that you contacted Catfish are the catfishes, you know what I mean? Like, you know you're doing something wrong, so you're pissed. Rosa actually cuts Neve off and then just goes off. She claims that she has nothing to hide. And she doesn't appreciate being called a liar, which is something. Like, how are you mad that you're being called a liar when we know for a fact that you are a liar? I think it makes sense. But Neve just ignores everything and says that it's time for us to meet up. Like, let's get the ball rolling. We know you have feelings for Danny, and meeting up with him is ultimately the right thing to do. Rosa says that she really wants to meet him, but she's really nervous. And I, too, would be nervous if Neve and Max caught me being a catfish. And I'm about to be exposed on TV. This episode is going to live on forever because it's years after the episode and here we are still talking about it. But they hop off the phone and they make plans to head to Connecticut the very next day because, surprise, surprise, Rosa doesn't actually live in Orlando. But Neve and Max continue to take every opportunity to speak very basic Spanish to Danny, and it's just weird to me. I can't decide if this is endearing or just sort of microaggressive turnoff. I don't really know. But they land in Connecticut and they head right over to meet Rosa. So Neve, of course, goes to the door, but he actually does a very gentle knock this time instead of his usual police knock, which lets us know that he is worried about Rosa's violent nature and he doesn't want to get his ass beat. Maybe that's why. That's what I think, at least. Max, Danny, and the crew hang back, and Danny is clearly very nervous. Someone answers the door, and Neve takes off his sunglasses to get a better look just before he walks inside, which is very on brand because why are you just walking in a random house like you own the place, okay? But the catfish starts to loudly sob, and Neve tries to comfort them. He tells them to just be themselves, be honest, and then they walk outside, and we see Rosa. Danny was immediately pissed. And then we meet Jose, who has actually been Rosa the whole time. Danny is really mad, which understandably so, I guess. And he asks if Jose's not ashamed, and Jose says that he is, and then he says he never meant to hurt anybody else, and he was only trying to hurt the girl in the picture. Oh my God. Jose then starts crying and gives us the Natalie lore. So apparently, way back in high school, Natalie and a group of other people used to brutally bully him. So he did all of this to take revenge on her.
So you created the account to take revenge on her, basically?
He actually made the account in the 9th grade, and he is now 26. And everyone is like, okay, right, but that was a long time ago. Also, I just feel like if you're trying to take revenge on her, I don't know if it's, I don't know. I feel like maybe I don't understand the logic at the big age of 26 in the 9th grade. Maybe I can understand it, but being almost 30, it's just doing too much, I think. But Danny then says that all of this isn't right, and he was making plans with this girl, but let us not forget that he was also making those exact same plans with about 60 other women, but sure did.
Soak up flexible bookings. Enjoy free cancellation on villas, resorts, and more. Book with peace of mind.
Jose then apologizes, and Danny tells him that he needs to get help, he needs to go to church, he needs to speak to someone. He can't just lock himself in this house and make believe that he is a woman. What do you mean? Now, I'm not going to lie, that rant is getting slightly homophobic. I don't know why, I can't put my finger on it, but I feel like he redeemed himself a little bit when he immediately followed that up by saying that Jose just needs to speak. If you was like men, I would do it better this way, which is more than fair. Let's not be an Isaac, okay? Danny then says that he has nothing else to say and storms off, and at that moment, Jose breaks down once again. And while he's walking away, Danny says that Jose is sick. And it's like, what do you mean by that, babe? What do you mean? Quickly. It's also wild to me that Danny had never once considered the possibility of him being catfished, despite reaching out to literal randoms on Facebook. Plenty of fish and Facebook are catfish heaven, so the fact that it never once crossed his mind is interesting, but also quite concerning and alarming. No brain cells in that big potato head of yours?
You're getting jumped. You're getting jumped.
Jose then says that he feels bad, and he says that he's by himself every single day that he wakes up, and he basically just turns this into a trauma dumping session, which feels like it's something he really needed to do in this moment, but I just don't know if it was necessarily appropriate despite the circumstances of what's going on, right? Like, he's not the victim in this. Danny's the victim, even though I don't really like Danny. Danny's still the victim. But he claims that he didn't mean to hurt Danny, but Danny listened to him and gave him advice, and that's what he needed at that time. He says that Danny's words of inspiration really helped him, and everything that he said Rosa went through were things that Jose really went through. He was abused as a child, and he was in and out of jail due to a drug addiction. He just wanted to be someone else, and he didn't want to be judged, which is totally understandable, and it's more than fair. But Neve then interrupts the trauma dump and tells Jose that this is a pivotal moment in his life, because while he hasn't had the best past, he has the opportunity to do things differently and begin his healing. Neve and Max then head back to the car and they leave. And at this point, I feel like
are so deep through the center of this earth that we tunneled all the way through and into the sun.
I can really understand why everyone is so sympathetic to what Jose is going through, and it's clear that he's just in so much pain. But I fear sometimes that the guys are so blinded by certain elements of this situation that they miss what I believe to be the bigger picture. Like, in my mind, Jose and Ashley Taylor are two sides of the same coin, only Jose appears to be more sympathetic and apologetic. But that accountability still needs to be there, and I feel like Cammy would have done a really good job in this episode, like she does in all of the episodes, of navigating this space, where I feel like Neve and Max sometimes fall a little bit short. As they're driving away, Neve and Max basically say that they need to be there for Jose and encourage Danny to forgive Jose and make it clear so that they can lighten Jose's burden, which again, I feel like they're not really acknowledging at all the way that Danny was done dirty and Danny's feelings about everything. They're just super focused on Jose, despite Danny being the victim in all of this. So the next day, the three of them link back up with Jose. Max then gets right into the important questions and asks about Rosa's voice. I'm being sarcastic because I don't really think that this was an important question. But Jose then puts the voice on for them.
I don't know what's going on. You know, a lot of things been changing in my life.
And they're all really impressed and praise it as good instead of being like, hey, that's fucked up that you deceived him in this way. Which, weird take, but it is what it is, I suppose. Garbage, right? Jose says that he didn't know how to come clean, but Max says that Danny could have chosen to be mad, but instead he's here today. And Danny then gives Jose some advice. He tells him to delete the pages, to let go of his demons from the past. For example, Natalie.
You need to focus on it. Go to church.
Because that's when God starts blessing you, which me personally, I don't think you need to go to church for God to start blessing you. I very much am a believer in, like, believe what you want to believe as long as it's not causing harm to anybody else. But I also think that, this is just like a little tangent, little sidebar, little rant, I think that sometimes Christianity, from my own experience, gets so caught up in physically being in a place of worship that you forget that you have the ability to worship wherever you want. You don't have to be a part of a church. You don't need to be giving all that money to the pastor. But I understand where Danny is coming from. I just don't believe that part to be necessarily true. But then he prays for Jose in Spanish with Jose's consent, of course. Now, I feel like this was a very heartwarming gesture because Danny did this with all the intentions. And it's clear that he really just wants what's best for Jose. And he spoke a lot of love and light into Jose's life, which was very sweet. So Jose encourages Jose to do better, to be better. While they're driving away, even Max just praised Danny for being the bigger person in the situation, which I feel like, what would they have done if he didn't want to be the bigger person, right? There didn't seem to be a lot of space for him to make that choice. He was very much being pushed to, like, do this for Jose, instead of thinking about himself. Although I don't really like Danny that much, he was still the victim in the situation, he was still done dirty. So it feels like there should have been equal empathy placed with both parties rather than all directly focused on Jose. So just to like speak good about Danny, do all this good stuff, Danny says that Danny's doing really good, and the show made him feel like he did something good by being that positive way for Jose in that moment, but they don't talk anymore. He claims that he never did end up contacting Natalie, and while I'm not sure if I believe that, that's what he said. He says that he's just focusing on himself and is not dating, which I also don't believe that. Jose says that he's doing a lot better since being on the show. He's back in school and doing what he can to be better himself and his education. He says he's focused on finding indicators of himself and making things not dating, which is definitely for the best, but also I don't know if I believe that. And in the next video, you can let me know if you think that that's what Jose predictions are. That's all for now, besties. But that was this episode, besties. Thank you so much for everyone who recommended it. And thank you to everybody who has already submitted their confessions. In case you missed the community post, which make sure you have your notifications on so you don't miss those posts. But basically, a lot of people have been listening that leads to a confessions and advice type of video. With all four confessions and what you need advice on, so you can find this link down in the description below. If you would like to submit your
that's the wrong population.
anonymous, then nobody will ever know that this is this, or you wanted advice with this. There's a little then you're responsible now at this point, so if you have a question that you'd like to see in a video, or you just want to get off your chest, you can submit that down in the link below. Okay? Make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification to every single time I upload so you don't miss out on anything. If there's another episode you'd like to see me cover, drop a down in the comments, and I'll there show you like to see me cover, drop down in the comments. I also released a poll asking what shows y'all want to see us cover next, and right now, I posted it on Patreon, and I also posted it for members, and the public poll went live a little bit earlier.
Oh, so I didn't have to wait.
Teen Mom is definitely ahead, and I don't mean the Teen Mom OG, I definitely mean Teen Mom 2, the messy one with Kale, Janelle, Leah, and Chelsea. Because that shit is a mess. And I really just want to get into it. So make sure you vote on that if you want to have a say. And thank you so much for all of the well wishes for my plants. In the last video, they're still not doing that great, but we're gonna try. I've cried about it a lot, and it's definitely upsetting, but we'll get past it, hopefully. We made it all the way to the end of the video. Thank you so much. I love and appreciate you. And leave a sunflower emoji down in the comments. So people are confused about why there's so many sunflower emojis down in the comments, but also because they're my favorite flower, and I just want something to brighten up my day, because looking at my sad plants is definitely great.
If you
But
can.
thank you so much, besties. Love and appreciate y'all, and I'll see you in the next video. Vernon, why wait for payday?
Helped him report it. We've helped him report it.
This catfish just won't quit, and after the last catfish video, so many of you were requesting that I cover this, and I was already planning on covering it in the same wavelength, besties. Also, am I dressed for the gym? Yes. I'll be going to the gym after I cover this video. We'll see. But let's get into the mess of it all. This is season 6, episode 19, Jose and Jay. Yes, I said Jose. So the episode starts off with Neve bragging once again about running, but like we literally don't care. We're not here to listen to you brag about what you've done. Get into the mess. Clock in, Neve. But we get an email from Jasmine, who is reaching out on behalf of her best friend, who has been in a myriad of toxic relationships. So her friend, she doesn't say his name, recently met Jay, and they began talking online and getting super serious. But Jasmine was concerned that her friend was getting catfished because they never talked on the phone, they never video chatted, and the profile pictures are very much giving catfish. You can see for yourself. But 2 weeks ago, Jay disappears. Vanished into thin air, and her friend is so delusional that he thinks that they will still be together. If a man disappears, a man ghosts you, they're not going to be with you. Let's be real. But Jasmine says that she's reaching out for their help because they have helped her friend before. And at this point, they're like, what the hell is even going on?
You helped him before? Wait, maybe she didn't say his name for a reason?
Because again, she doesn't say any names, so they're like, who the fuck could it be? I know they just weren't expecting it to be someone who they helped 10 episodes ago, but they quickly hop on a call with Jasmine, and she is sitting there with another friend who is very aggravated, but not the person being catfished, and she's like, why are you here? And they say that they're for attention. And Max, being the genius that he is, the big brain daddy, realizes instantly that they are here to help Jose, who we literally just talked about. So if you didn't see that last video, go watch it and click here, because the stuff that happened in that video and that episode relates to what's going to go down. But Jasmine lets us know that through the show, Jose was doing really good. He completely turned his life around. But 2 months ago when he met Jay, she started to get concerned, which is super valid because Jose was in a really dark place when they met him. So if he's all of a sudden in a better place, he meets somebody. It's like the ending of that relationship when you're in a very fragile state could lead you back down to a dark place. So her concern is super valid. And I think she's a good friend for voicing that to Jose. But Jose didn't listen to her, of course, so that's why she's talking to Catfish. She tried to tell Jose that he was being catfished, and Jose just wasn't accepting it, very much in denial. He claims that he and the man are in love. They talk about marriage and moving in together, kids, the whole shebang. As I said, no way. No way. Which Jose needs to think, because that's the same stuff that he was doing, Mr. Religious Danny. Jose knows that Jasmine reached out, and he was fine with it. He actually encouraged her to do so, because he was worried that if he contacted the show himself, they wouldn't want to help him. Which, yeah, I don't know. I feel like sometimes it gets annoying seeing repeat catfishes, because it's like, at this point, is this a real issue for you, or is this just a clout grab? Is it just a clout chasing thing? Like, what's the deal?
You are really making yourself look horrible.
But they agree to help, and they hop off the call and head right over to Jose. They pull up on Jose, and he seems really nervous, which honestly valid, very fair. Max straight up asks what the hell is going on. I feel like, to me, it's clear Max didn't really want to do this episode. Neve is down for whatever episode because Neve is super, super messy. But I think at this point, you can kind of, at least for me, I could see that Max was kind of over the show, but he was ready to leave because, like, why are we back here? What the hell is going on? Also, I feel like it's crazy as a former catfish, potentially still a catfish, if you're getting catfished. You fucking wrote the catfish guidebook, the handbook, and you're falling for the same tricks that you use on other people? Something is not making sense here. But anyways, Jose says that after the show, he got a friend request from Jay, and he said a lot of people were adding him on Facebook, so he didn't think anything of it, accepted the request. But Jay claims that he didn't see the show and found Jose strictly through mutual friends, which I don't know why you would believe that, but he did. That's a choice. Jose says that a part of him fell for Jay because Jay reminded him of Danny, which I think is an absolutely insane, asinine thing to say, because that's who you catfish. But we move, I guess. Jose claims that they bonded over their childhood trauma, and Jay seemed like he was seriously committed to him, and that's what made Jose fall for him. How could he be seriously committed? He never talked on the phone, never video chatted. The pictures are giving fake.
And I will give you $100 for every question you answer correctly in this 28-degree ice bath.
I guess.
First question. How many subscriptions are you paying for?
3. I got Peacock and Paramount Plus.
Let's download Rocket Money and see if you're right.
Okay.
Oh, you're actually paying for 15 subscriptions, and that's costing you $269. I'll give you another chance. How much did you spend on takeout last week?
Like $60.
It was actually $340. Yeah, it shows you all your phone expenses, one place including subscription, and if you see a subscription that you don't want to go on, cancel it. It also helps you create a budget and see what you spend, and it can even negotiate your bills for you.
That's great. Can I get out now?
I feel like some people just want to be in relationships so bad that they're willing to put up with any and everything. They're willing to feed their own delusions.